'Twas the COVID of 2020 when Cyberpunk 2077 dropped for consoles and PC. It was the most awaited game that was not GTA 6. Gamers across the globe were primed to take a ticket to Night City, ready to live that fast paced merc life, chrome up along the way, and carve their own legend in this concrete jungle. Instead, the game that would save that catastrophic year ended up being flatlined right on launch. Glitches stacked higher than the Arasaka Tower, NPCs popping in and out like you're going cyber psycho or something. Police teleporting in and out of nowhere like they're using fast travel beacons. Especially on previous gen consoles, it ran like a rusted out Thornton, kind of like the one we're seeing right now, just finely aged on the outskirts of Night City in the Badlands. Soon, refunds were flying faster than a Quadra running max boost, and CD Projekt Red's rep plummeted like that one Kang Tao AV. It wasn't a bad launch, that would be to put it lightly. It was a complete disaster piece, one wrapped up in neon, chrome, and a whole lot of false promises. Fast forward to 2025, Cyberpunk 2077 is a completely different game now, with the greatest comeback ever seen in gaming so far. The bugs that plagued the game were largely squished. The once lifeless streets of Night City, now they're humming with life, danger, and the occasional smell of synth coffee in the air. It took years of planning, hard work, dedication, and crunch hours to turn it around. Trust me, it was not as easy as swapping the game's old cybertech for the top-shelf Militech stuff. This isn't the same Night City that let gamers down in 20. It's sharper, more unforgiving, brimming with opportunity and immersion for those daring enough to experience it as it was always intended. The game went from a rusted-out Thornton to a preem Rayfield. This is Game Trigger chipping in with the official Cyberpunk review. Last time I told you to give this game another chance, and now I'm, reviewing the game. Unlike JRPGs, Cyberpunk 2077 is a WRPG, packing a rather more realistic looking and a gritty theme that are a caution to where we are headed as a society with all this stuff going on around us. The game picks up a most rational fare and spins it into one of the best narratives I have ever seen if you stop and smell the synthetic roses in the story. In Cyberpunk, everyone has a story to tell, complete with their own conflicts and struggles, be it human, pseudo-human, or machine. Like all respectable games, players are expected to play the side quests because the standard storyline of the game is rather short, but it's sweet. CD Projekt Red wants players to immerse themselves into that big Night City life. You do not speedrun these kinds of games, you experience it like a perfectly marinated and grilled steak at one of those fine dining restaurants. That's right, you enjoy the game at your own leisure. To bring Night City to life, lore surrounding the game's events and history is all around the player. Even the food items of the game have their own lore. Food for thought, or not. The culture of Cyberpunk 2077, with its hyper-consumerism, invasive advertising, and, transhumanism, is all reflected in even the game's songs made with the game's world in mind. This is probably the only game I've played where some of the lore and the culture is narrated through the game's songs. Anyway, the game is rather graphically heavy, which works just about perfectly in portraying an unforgettable experience. It's best played on PC as well as current gen consoles. This one's being played on the Xbox Series X, by the way. With previous generation consoles reaching the end of their lifespan, this game alone might be one of the reasons to upgrade. I know, crazy right? The game does an incredible job by letting players soak it all in, whether it is driving on your lonesome through the smog or watching giant hologram ads scroll over to the high heavens from the Badlands, whether it's watching others go on about their corpo-approved life or getting bombarded with obscene ads everywhere, like the really obscene stuff which are littered all around Night City. Cyberpunk hits the ball out of the park by giving us a hot dystopian mess through its impressive world building. PC chooms, it is time to put that ultra setting to good use. Just try not to flatline your gaming rig though. Anyway, moving back to the review, players step into the boots of V, a fully customizable merc trying to hit it in the big leagues amidst all of the chaos of Night City. Whether you're rolling as a slick corpo shark, a hard-boiled street kid, or a drifting nomad fresh from the Badlands. Well, V's look, voice, stats, cyberware, choices, and the backstory are all yours to sculpt. The driving in Cyberpunk feels unlike any other game. GTA 5's driving, well, the roads were too clean and wide, typical of American big city roads. But in Night City, you will actually have to navigate through the more cramped up alleys and actually avoid potholes as well as barriers. The city does not feel the same, nor does it feel lazily made. Finally, relatable driving. In Cyberpunk 2077, however, the driving feels pretty much how I would expect it to, being able to feel the weight of the car or truck being hurled around. There is a sensation of speed which many racing games miss, by the way. I sort of got my Twisted Metal kicks from the weaponized vehicles in the game. Each car has its unique appearance inside out, outside in. That's right, we have fully detailed interiors, and you can even pop open the hood or pop open the trunk. They even properly got the Porsche 911 right. And yes, you can stash all your hardware in the trunk as well. How cool is that? The combat is genuinely dynamic, allowing players to take any approach they desire. You want to hack your way through and barely confront anyone? That is possible as a netrunner. You want to nail the bad guys up close, jump all over the place and tear them apart with cybernetic mantis claws? You betcha, Cyberpunk 2077 makes it happen. Okay, so maybe you want a more traditional approach like I take most of the time, with a little less of the cybernetic stuff. Even that is a choice. Night City gives players a non-stop sensory assault sponsored by none other than the corpse. Seriously, everywhere you look, there's some hollow ad screaming in your face, trying to sell you Mr. Stud implants that you don't need, food that barely qualifies as edible, and brain dances that will melt your very synapses. Billboards, vending machines, the smog-infested sky, and even your own damn optics, if it can display an ad, it most certainly will. This is hyper-consumerism turned up so loud that you can feel yourself going cyber psycho already. This is like a capitalist fever dream where you, sir or madam, are the product. The city just doesn't want your eddies, it wants your very soul, gift wrapped and purchased on a discount voucher. Since y'all have been jacked in for long enough, it is now time for the official Game Trigger score. Cyberpunk 2077 receives a supernova 10 out of 10 score. Hard to believe, right? The same game that crawled out of 2020 with a shameful 2 out of 10 worthy rep has now shot itself up into the stratosphere, becoming a thing of beauty that shall never fade away. The game serves as a blueprint for all future RPGs and even MMOs to take notes from, besides the rocky launch and fixing the game in a series of updates. Better not copy that. But anyway, game developers and companies will be studying this beast of a game for years, trying to recreate the experience or perhaps even improve it. That is, if they want to create an actually entertaining product and not some slop with battle passes and stuff. Well, I suppose that wraps up yet another video and another review. Have fun, and this is Game Trigger signing off.